A Netflix whistleblower reveals what data-driven analytics are doing to creative content in subscription services. What does this mean for gaming? Welcome back to another episode of the WorryWartGamer. This is an article from Insider. It's a business news site, and believe it or not, you've got to be a subscriber to see this, so putting the link in the description isn't going to help you, but I'm going to read you a little bit of it, and then we'll talk about how this applies to every subscription service, even gaming. So the title is Netflix Insiders Reveal Contentious Debates Over How Data Drives Creative Decisions and Why Beloved Series Don't Always Get Renewed. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. There are people who collect data for services, subscription services, anyone that you can think of, even gaming. And the data is dictating the creative process. So, for instance, somebody might come to Netflix with an idea that's fantastic for a series. Absolutely phenomenal. The people who are collecting the data for Netflix with all of the shows, not just that one creator's vision, but everything, make a decision on subscriber count, money in, money out, and then that creative process has to fit within the confines of those analytics. Now, imagine someone coming in there and saying, I've got this idea for a fantastic show. It sounds amazing. Here's what it's going to cost. And they say, well, we love it, but you've got to cut this, this, and this. It hampers the creative process. That's exactly what's happening at Netflix. There is a contentious debate between data collectors and creators when it comes to putting something in a subscription service. It's not just how much money or how many people are going to view this one particular show. It's how much money is coming in from everything, because it's not just spending money on that one creator show. It's spending money on everything that's in Netflix, everything that's going to be funded in Netflix, and then this creator's idea fitting into that. So right off the bat, there's a limitation for creators. And if you're somebody who's creative, having a limitation placed upon you instantly as soon as you walk in the door is never going to bode well for a consumer who's looking for something that is a quality product. Now, you might be okay with this news because in your mind there are great shows on these streaming services, so whatever the constraints are for these creators coming in, there's still great content coming out. But what I'm trying to say is that all we know is what the finished products are. We don't know what they could have been or what they would have been or what the creator wanted them to be. And if the creative process begins and ends with data collection, with views, with subscriber counts, with how much money can be invested into an idea based on all of these other ideas that need to be funded. You see, if you have this amazing looking apple, it's completely and totally beautiful. You know it's going to taste fantastic. You know it's special. And then you just drop it into a barrel with 50 other apples. Well, it loses something because it's just another apple. So it's much more difficult to find the good versus the mediocre or even the awful that's in that barrel. This is what is happening. All of these other mediocre things are having to be taken into account when it comes to cost for creators, not just their singular ideas that may be fantastic. They're not willing to take a chance on a singular project, fund it, and hope that it sells a lot, price it high, like a video game, $60 or $70, and hopefully they make a lot of money. They're much more interested in saying, drop it into this barrel full of all these other apples, and here's the costs that we have to identify before we even listen to your idea. To me, that's a problem. And it's a problem that's shared among any and all subscription services and creators who are in a subscription service or forced to be in a subscription service. So when it comes to gaming, if you're doing anything and you know it has to be in a subscription service day and date, the idea that your idea, your concept, your vision is going to be unaltered in any way, shape, or form is a fallacy. Absolutely all the other apples that are already in that barrel whether or not they're good, whether or not they're bad, or whether or not they're awful, the cost of getting all of those other apples into that barrel are going to impact that new apple that's trying to be created by a creator from the very beginning. And that is a problem. It's why recently Shuhei Yoshida talks about their vision for creativity when it comes to video games, and they believe in taking those initial risks with creators. They believe in funding those risks and giving the consumer the unaltered vision of a creator. You see, they're not going to take into account 15 or 16 or 100 other games that have to exist in a service, the cost of keeping them there, the cost of getting other games into that service with third parties or second parties, and then the cost of creating their own first party games. They're not going to consider all of that and then put all that pressure and all of that cost onto a new creator's vision before it even gets off the ground. They're going to take that chance. They're going to release the game just like movies are released in the theater, get that revenue, then later on roll them into a subscription service or pack them into a bundle to sell hardware. They're doing a traditional approach. Now, a lot of people seem to think that subscription services are the future and that no, nothing is unaltered, everything is great because there are games that look great. And my point is this: you don't know what those games could have been, would have been, or should have been. A Last of Us 1 or Last of Us 2 type of quality and creation is not going to be greenlit for a subscription service because costs of everything else, all the other games in the service, all the other contracts, all the other third-party content, all the other first-party content, all of that money has to go into the subscription service. So there is limitations to begin with on the creators. And the reason I can say this is because there isn't a level of quality when it comes to Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2, a lot of other first-party games in subscription services. I haven't seen them yet. They're not there, and they're not there for a reason. And these whistleblowers at Netflix are pointing out the fact that creators' creative visions are being hampered by data-driven analytics for subscription services. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think this is going to affect or has affected the type of content that you're going to get in the subscription service? And if you don't even know that content was altered, then how do you know that you're getting a good product to begin with? You can look at games and say, well, this game is great. I'm playing it in Game Pass, or I'm playing it in PlayStation Plus, or whatever else you're subscribed to, and all I know is it's great. My point is, it was probably a million times better when the creators pitched the idea and then the number crunchers, because the subscription services told them, here's the box that you can work in and you cannot go outside of this box because of the cost associated with everything else in a subscription service. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.